Patricia from Wisconsin lost 30 pounds at age 68 using intermittent fasting. She's hiking mountains and chasing grandkids like she's 40 again. But just last month, Harold from Texas ended up in the ER after trying the same approach. Dizzy spells, weakness, and a dangerous drop in blood sugar. So here's the million-dollar question that's dividing the senior health community. Is intermittent fasting the weight loss miracle that could transform your golden years? Or is it a dangerous gamble that puts seniors at serious risk? With over 40% of Americans over 65 struggling with obesity and weight-related health issues skyrocketing in our age group, this isn't just another diet debate. This is about your quality of life, your independence, and potentially your survival. Today, I'm settling this once and for all. Stick around because what I reveal might completely change how you think about losing weight after 65. Hey there, wonderful people. I'm the Digital Grandpa, and I give different tips on how we can maintain our prime even as we age. And if you're new here, welcome to our family of seniors who refuse to let age define our limits. For over 5 years, I've been passionate about one thing: helping people over 65 live their absolute best life. And let me tell you, nothing breaks my heart more than hearing from viewers who feel trapped in bodies that don't feel like their own anymore. So if you want to encourage me to keep making videos, do well to subscribe and leave a comment of where you are watching from. I know it's tough when your body changes, when the scale creeps up despite eating the same foods that kept you trim for decades, when climbing stairs leaves you winded, or when you avoid social events because nothing fits right anymore. You're not alone in this struggle, and you're definitely not too old to transform your health. Weight loss after 65 isn't just about looking good, though you absolutely deserve to feel confident in your skin. It's about mobility. It's about keeping your heart strong and your blood pressure in check. It's about maintaining your independence and being there for the people you love. Every pound you lose reduces pressure on your joints, lowers your risk of diabetes, and adds precious years to your life. Now, intermittent fasting has taken the health world by storm. It's everywhere, from your neighbor's success story to viral TikTok transformations. But here's what nobody's talking about. What happens when you're over 65? Does your age change everything about this approach? Today, we're diving deep into the science, the success stories, and yes, the scary risk too, because you deserve the whole truth, not just the Instagram highlight reel. All right, let's start with the basics. If you're scratching your head wondering what intermittent fasting actually is, don't worry. It's simpler than it sounds, and I promise to explain it without all the confusing jargon. Intermittent fasting isn't about what you eat. It's about when you eat. Think of it as giving your body scheduled breaks from food, kind of like how you naturally fast while you sleep, but extending those periods a bit longer. The most popular method is called 16 to 8. This means you eat all your meals within an 8-hour window and fast for 16 hours. For example, you might eat between noon and 8 p.m., then fast until noon the next day. Your morning coffee is allowed. Just keep it black or with a splash of cream. Then there's the 5-2 approach, where you eat normally 5 days a week and dramatically reduce calories. We're talking about 500 to 600 calories on 2 non-consecutive days. Some folks find this easier because they're not changing their eating schedule every single day. The most intense version is alternate day fasting, where you literally eat every other day or severely restrict calories on fasting days. Honestly, this one makes me nervous for seniors, and we'll talk about why in a minute. Now, why is everyone talking about this? Social media is absolutely buzzing with before and after photos, celebrities swearing by it, and influencers claiming it's the fountain of youth. The appeal is obvious. No complicated meal plans, no counting every calorie, no expensive supplements. Just don't eat for certain hours. But here's where it gets tricky for us seniors. Our bodies aren't 25 anymore. Our metabolism has naturally slowed slowed down. That's just biology, not a personal failing. We're more likely to be taking medications that need to be taken with food. Our blood sugar regulation isn't as robust as it used to be. And let's be honest, we've earned the right to enjoy our meals without stress. The question isn't whether intermittent fasting works. Plenty of studies show it can. The real question is whether it's safe and effective for bodies that have lived, loved, and weathered decades of life. So, is intermittent fasting a game changer for seniors, or are we walking into a minefield? Let's look at what the research actually says. Okay, I'm going to give it to you straight. The potential benefits of intermittent fasting for seniors are genuinely impressive. And before you think I'm just trying to sell you something, remember that I'm 67 myself, and I've seen both sides of this coin. Let's start with the big one, weight loss. A landmark study published in the journal Obesity in 2018 followed adults over 60 for 12 weeks of intermittent fasting. The result? Participants lost an average of 3 to 8% of their body weight without counting a single calorie. Now, that might not sound like much, but for someone weighing 180 pounds, that's 5 to 14 pounds, enough to take significant pressure off your knees and improve your energy levels dramatically. But here's what really gets me excited. It's not just about the number on the scale. The same study showed improvements in insulin sensitivity, which is huge for preventing type 2 diabetes. As we age, our bodies become less efficient at processing sugar, and diabetes rates in seniors are through the roof. If intermittent fasting can help reverse that trend, we're talking about preventing a disease that affects nearly 30% of adults over 65. The heart health benefits are equally compelling. A 2020 study in the New England Journal of Medicine found that intermittent fasting improved several cardiovascular risk factors in older adults: lower blood pressure, reduced inflammation, and better cholesterol profiles. For seniors, where heart disease is the leading cause of death, these improvements could literally be life-saving. Now, here's something that might surprise you. The brain benefit research from Johns Hopkins suggests that intermittent fasting may help protect against cognitive decline and even reduce the risk of Alzheimer's disease. The theory is that fasting triggers the production of brain-derived neurotrophic factor, which helps grow new brain cells and protect existing ones. Imagine maintaining your sharp wit and memory well into your 80s and 90s. Let me share a story that really hit home for me. I connected with Robert, a 72-year-old retired teacher from Ohio, through our Facebook community. Robert had struggled with his weight for years after retirement. You know how it goes. Less activity, more time around the kitchen, stress eating during his wife's illness. He was pre-diabetic. His doctor was pushing medication, and he felt defeated. Robert started with a gentle 12-12 approach, eating between 7 a.m. and 7 p.m., fasting for 12 hours. Nothing extreme. Within 3 months, he'd lost 22 pounds. His blood sugar normalized, and his doctor was amazed. But what Robert told me was even more powerful. I feel like myself again. I have energy to garden, to take long walks with my wife, to play with my grandchildren without getting winded. The simplicity factor can't be overlooked either. Unlike complicated diets that require special foods or constant meal prep, intermittent fasting just requires not eating for certain hours. For seniors on fixed incomes, there's no expensive shakes or supplements. For those with arthritis or mobility issues, there's no extensive food preparation. You're literally spending less money on food while potentially improving your health. There's also emerging research on longevity. Studies in animals suggest that intermittent fasting may extend lifespan by reducing cellular damage and improving the body's stress response. While we can't say for certain this translates to humans, the cellular mechanisms are promising. Some seniors also report better sleep quality, more stable energy levels throughout the day, and reduced inflammation in their joint. Dr. Sarah Johnson from the University of Alabama's Nutrition Department notes that many of her older patients experience what she calls metabolic rejuvenation. Their bodies start responding more like younger versions of themselves. The mental clarity many people report is particularly relevant for seniors. That afternoon brain fog that seems to get worse with age, many intermittent fasters say it disappears. The constant constant thinking about food, meal planning, and eating schedules actually decreases when you have clear boundaries about when you eat. But before you get too excited and jump in head first, we need to talk about the other side of this coin. Because while these benefits sound amazing, and they are real for many people, intermittent fasting isn't all sunshine and rainbows, especially for seniors. The risks are real, they're serious, and there's something every person over 65 needs to understand before making this decision. Now, I need you to listen carefully, because this is where things get real. While I just shared some genuinely exciting benefits, I'd be doing you a disservice if I didn't tell you about the serious risks that come with intermittent fasting after 65. These aren't minor inconveniences. They're potentially life-threatening complications that every senior needs to understand. The biggest concern, and one that keeps geriatricians up at night, is muscle loss, what doctors call sarcopenia. Here's the stark reality. After age 30, we naturally lose 3 to 8% of our muscle mass per decade. By 65, nearly 50% of seniors have significant muscle loss. This isn't just about looking frail. Muscle mass is directly tied to bone strength, balance, immune function, and your ability to live independently. When you fast, especially for extended periods, your body doesn't just burn fat. It also breaks down muscle tissue for energy. A study published in the Journal of Gerontology found that seniors who practiced aggressive fasting lost muscle mass at nearly twice the rate of those following traditional calorie restriction. We're talking about losing the very thing that keeps you steady on your feet and prevents falls. And speaking of falls, this is where the statistics get scary. 3 million seniors end up in emergency rooms each year due to falls, and muscle weakness is a major contributing factor. The Mayo Clinic warns that the dizziness and weakness commonly experienced during fasting periods can significantly increase fall risk. Imagine breaking a hip because you got lightheaded while fasting. That's a life-changing injury that many seniors never fully recover from. Blood sugar issues are another major red flag. While fasting can improve insulin sensitivity over time, the immediate effects can be dangerous for seniors, especially those with diabetes or prediabetes. Dr. Michael Chen from the Cleveland Clinic documented several cases of seniors experiencing severe hypoglycemia during fasting periods, requiring emergency medical intervention. Here's what's particularly concerning. Many seniors are on medications that affect blood sugar or blood pressure. Skipping meals while taking these medications can create a perfect storm. Blood pressure medications can cause dangerous drops in blood pressure when combined with fasting. Diabetes medications can push blood sugar too low. Heart medications may become less effective when taken on an empty stomach. The nutrient deficiency issue is often overlooked, but incredibly important for seniors. As we age, our bodies become less efficient at absorbing nutrients, and our needs for certain vitamins and minerals actually increase. And when you're only eating during a short window, it becomes much harder to get adequate protein, calcium, vitamin D, B12, and other crucial nutrients that seniors desperately need. I recently heard from Eleanor, a 69-year-old from Florida who tried the 16-to-8 method after seeing all the success stories online. Within 2 weeks, she was experiencing severe fatigue, dizziness, and what she described as feeling like I was disappearing. Her doctor found that her protein intake had dropped dangerously low, and she'd lost 4 pounds of muscle mass in just 2 weeks. Eleanor told me, "I thought I was getting healthier, but I was actually making myself frail." The social isolation aspect is something we don't talk about enough. For many seniors, meals are their primary social connection. Dinner with family, lunch with friends, community meals at senior centers. Intermittent fasting can force you to skip these social connections, potentially leading to depression and isolation, which are already major concerns for our age group. Dehydration is another serious risk that's often underestimated. Seniors are already at higher risk for dehydration due to decreased kidney function and medication side effects. When you're fasting, you're not just missing food, you're missing the significant amount of water that comes from meals. The CDC reports that dehydration is responsible for thousands of senior hospitalizations each year. There's also the issue of eating disorders, which can develop at any age. The rigid rules around around when you can and cannot eat can trigger unhealthy relationships with food, especially in seniors who may already be dealing with loss of appetite due to medications or depression. Dr. Patricia Williams from Harvard Medical School put it bluntly in a recent interview. The margin for error with intermittent fasting becomes much smaller as we age. What might be a minor inconvenience for a 30-year-old could be a medical emergency for a 70-year-old. The bottom line is this: while intermittent fasting might work beautifully for some seniors, it can be genuinely dangerous for others. The difference often comes down to your individual health status, medications, and how carefully you approach it. So what do the experts actually recommend? Let's dive into that next. The medical community is genuinely divided on intermittent fasting for seniors, and honestly, that division tells us something important. This isn't a black and white issue. Harvard Health Publishing, one of the most respected voices in medicine, takes a cautious stand. They acknowledge the potential benefits but strongly emphasize medical supervision for anyone over 65. Dr. Monique Tello from Harvard Medical School states that while intermittent fasting can be effective, seniors face unique challenges that require careful monitoring. On the other side, research published in the Journal of Gerontology suggests that modified intermittent fasting with less aggressive fasting periods can be safe and effective for healthy seniors. The key word there is healthy. The researchers emphasize starting slowly and monitoring for any negative effects. The American Geriatric Society hasn't taken an official position, but their recent guidelines stress that any weight loss approach for seniors should prioritize maintaining muscle mass and preventing malnutrition over rapid results. What's fascinating is how different experts define safe intermittent fasting for seniors. Dr. Lisa Chen from the Mayo Clinic suggests starting with what she calls gentle, time-restricted eating, a 12-12 approach where you eat within a 12-hour window and fast for 12 hours, which basically just means skipping late-night snacking. Meanwhile, researchers at the University of Alabama recommend what they call the senior-friendly approach, eating 2 meals within a 10-hour window, ensuring each meal is protein-rich and nutrient-dense. They found this approach minimized muscle loss while still providing metabolic benefits. The consensus among geriatricians seems to be this: if you're going to try intermittent fasting after 65, certain conditions must be met. You need medical clearance, especially if you're on medication. You need to prioritize protein intake to prevent muscle loss. You need to start very gradually, maybe just skipping late-night snacks initially. And you absolutely need to stop if you experience dizziness, weakness, or any concerning symptoms. Dr. Robert Butler from the National Institute on Aging perhaps said it best: the goal for seniors shouldn't be to follow the latest trend, but to find sustainable approaches that enhance quality of life while minimizing risks. What's clear is that one size definitely doesn't fit all when it comes to seniors and intermittent fasting, which brings us to the real-world experiences of people just like you. Let me share some real stories from our community because they illustrate perfectly why this topic is so complicated. First, there's James, 71, from Arizona. James had been struggling with type 2 diabetes and 40 extra pounds since his retirement. His doctor mentioned intermittent fasting, so James started with a 14-10 approach, eating between 8 a.m. and 6 p.m. 6 months later, James has lost 28 pounds. His A1C levels have improved dramatically, and he's hiking again. He tells me, "It gave me my life back. The structure actually made eating simpler, not harder." But then there's Barbara, 68, from Michigan. Barbara tried the popular 16-8 method after seeing success stories online. Within 3 weeks, she was experiencing severe fatigue, dizziness, and what her doctor diagnosed as orthostatic hypotension, dangerous drops in blood pressure when standing up. Barbara had to stop immediately and focus on building her strength back up. She says, "I learned that just because something works for others doesn't mean it's right for me." And then there's David, 73, who found a middle ground. After a mild heart attack, David's cardiologist suggested modified fasting, essentially eating 3 meals within a 10-hour window and avoiding late-night eating. David lost 15 pounds slowly and steadily. His blood pressure improved, and he never experienced the negative effects that scared him about more aggressive approaches. These stories highlight something crucial. There's no universal senior experience with intermittent fasting. Your medications, health conditions, lifestyle, and even your social situation all play roles in whether this approach will help or harm you. So where does this leave us? After looking at all the research, talking to experts, and hearing real experiences, what's the verdict? All right, here's my verdict after diving deep into the research and real experiences. Intermittent fasting can work for seniors, but it's not the miracle solution it's often portrayed as, and it's definitely not right for everyone over 65. Here's the truth. If you're a healthy senior without major medical conditions, not on multiple medications, and you approach it gradually with medical supervision, intermittent fasting might help you lose weight and gain some metabolic benefits. The key phrase there is might help. It's not guaranteed, and the risks are real. But if you're dealing with diabetes, heart conditions, taking blood pressure medications, struggling with muscle loss, or have a history of eating disorders, the risks likely outweigh the benefits. The potential for serious complications is just too high. What I've learned is that the seniors who succeed with intermittent fasting share certain characteristics. They start very slowly, they prioritize protein at every meal, they stay closely connected with their healthcare providers, and they're willing to stop if things don't feel right. For most seniors, I honestly think there are safer, more sustainable approaches to weight loss. The Mediterranean diet, for example, has decades of research showing it's safe and effective for seniors. Regular strength training combined with balanced nutrition can help you lose weight while actually building muscle mass, not losing it. Light physical activity like walking, swimming, or Tai Chi, combined with portion control and nutrient-dense foods, might not be as trendy as intermittent fasting, but they're proven to work without the risk. If you're determined to try some form of fasting, start with the gentlest approach possible. Maybe that's just avoiding eating after 7 p.m. Maybe it's having a slightly later breakfast and earlier dinner. The goal should be gradual, sustainable changes that make you feel better, not restrictions that leave you weak or isolated. The bottom line, you deserve to feel great in your body, but you also deserve to be safe. Don't let social media success stories or trendy headlines push you into something that could harm your health. Your body has carried you through decades of life. Treat it with the respect and caution it deserves. So there you have it, the real story about intermittent fasting for seniors. It's not a simple yes or no answer, because your health is too important for simple answers. I want to hear from you in the comments. Have you tried intermittent fasting? Are you considering it? What concerns do you have? Your experiences help our entire community make better decisions about their health. If this video helped you think through this decision, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. We're building a community of seniors who refuse to accept limitations and want real, honest information about their health options. Next week, we're settling another heated debate: Tai Chi versus yoga for seniors. Which one is better for balance, flexibility, and peace of mind? Trust me, you won't want to miss this one. Until then, take care of yourself. You're worth it.